Sometimes you live in such masculine energy for so long that you take care of so much stuff that you don't realize how many people don't take care of you because you never ask for help. And then when you really start asking, you're like, oh, wait, I'm not counting favors, but I've done this for you. I've been there for you. I've been that for you. You can't even do this for me. So you are trying to tap into your feminine energy. You are tired of living in your masculine energy. You're tired of being rough, tough, and honestly, sometimes even mean. So in this video, I'm going to give you a few steps you can use to tap into your feminine energy, and let's get straight into it. So first, you need to come to terms with any problems, i.e. trauma that you've had in the past with men, especially during your childhood, kind of like daddy issues or parental kind of father issues. I say that to say a lot of times for a lot of women, that actually makes us act very masculine. When we've had these problems with men in the past, we subconsciously think about it like this. I was feminine during this time period and I was taken advantage of. So next time I deal with men, I'm going to act differently, i.e. usually more masculine. And so we often see, especially people who just got out of bad relationships, like, oh, all men are the same and men are like this and men are like that. That's you being in your masculine energy. You let that person take away a certain part of your feminine energy that you feel like, to not let that thing happen again, I'm going to live in my masculine energy. I'm going to look at men a certain way. I'm going to act a certain way around men because that's how I'm going to get what I want. And it especially comes, like I said, from your childhood, right? There's some women such as myself who I definitely could say I dealt with like abandonment issues from my dad. And so when it came to being in relationships with men, it's very hard for me because I have this mindset in my mind that everyone is going to kind of break my heart, which is something I'm working through. But it's hard for me really to like fall in love with men and all these other things because I always had this thing in the back of my head of like, is he going to leave and is he not going to be there and all these other things, which causes me to act masculine with men, right? Act like I don't care or cut things off or whatever the case may be, because I felt like as a child, when I was in that feminine energy and I just let things be the way they were, I was hurt. And so as an adult, I didn't realize it, but I just didn't want that to happen again. And then there's some other individuals who kind of act the opposite. They still want the same attention that I wanted when I was a child, but they dive right into it and they deal with men that don't treat them well and all these other things because one, it makes them think they're being more feminine because they're like, oh, I'm being a lady and I'm not speaking up for myself and all this other stuff. No, it's actually making you more masculine because you don't realize, since you did not get over that trauma that you had with that prior relationship or that you had when you were younger, it's making you think that you have control, which is a sense, it's being in your masculine energy. You don't realize you're subconsciously trying to control this person. What you're saying is, I'm going to give you everything that you want and I'm always going to be there for you. I'm always going to care for you and do all this other stuff so that you'll love me. That's you being in your masculine energy. When you do things to try to make individuals love you from a place of abandonment, from a place of not feeling enough, from a place of, that's masculine. Because you are trying to control people. And control, going into the next topic, is a form of masculinity. And one thing I want you to understand is the only person you should be trying to control is yourself. First and foremost. A lot of people, we don't realize it because we think of it as being nurturing and feminine. Too many women try to control their man more than they try to control themselves. You think just because you have that man password, just because you have his location, just because you know where he works, he not going to cheat on you, right? Because you control the situation, but you can't even control yourself enough when you driving home from work not to get fast food. Why do you having French fries and you know you trying to lose weight in the summertime? You get what I'm saying? Like, we don't realize that's us being in our masculine energy trying to control people because we do it in a nurturing way, right? Oh, I'm helping him get this job and I'm helping him, get his life together and I'm helping him and I'm doing all these things, which I'm not saying you should not help your partner, but a lot of times we become the moms for these individuals and we don't realize you're subconsciously doing it for yourself because it's giving you something to live for. It's giving you the attention that you didn't get as a child. It's giving you the love that you didn't get when you were in your previous relationship. And you're like, if I do all these things for this person, they would just love me. That's you trying to control them. And that's you being in your masculine energy. And going off of that, sometimes you have to let people learn by themselves, especially when it comes to a man. Sounds cliche, but let a man be a man. Men do not want you constantly telling them what to do. Men like to feel like they're in the lead. Men like to feel like they're, i.e., like I said, in control. And that's okay to allow them to do that. A lot of us, we have this mindset that what we know is right and what we do is right. And so we feel like we always have to tell people when they're doing something wrong. And so we don't realize we're becoming naggers. And that's why that individual doesn't want to be around you. And we think that we're trying to help this person. You are not helping that man. You are nagging that man. Let that man be a man. If you guys are going off, going to a birthday party and he's taking the wrong exit or he's just doing something wrong, let him learn on his own. Like, you don't always, unless you're like in danger, okay, that's different. But I think there is a certain level of just being there. And sometimes, honestly, I don't know about y'all, but when I'm with a man, I like to turn off my brain. I don't like to really think about too much stuff. And you don't realize when you constantly are looking for something to fix. Oh, you gotta do this. Oh, you gotta do that. Oh, did you do this? Did you do that? You don't realize that's you being your masculine energy because you don't allow yourself to really just be in the moment, right? You don't allow yourself to let go of control. And so I think that's something that a lot of women have to do. Let that man learn by himself. Because another thing, I feel like it's not fair that just because you feel like you know something better, you're taking away that person's ability to learn that thing. If that makes any sense. What you're basically saying is, oh no, you're not going to learn that thing. I'm going to tell you that thing. And it becomes annoying. And if you think about when you were a child, your parents could have told you to do something and it possibly could have been the right thing to do, but just because they always nag you, you don't even remember the thing that they told you to do. Because it's just so annoying. Like, a lot of women don't realize they become that in relationships. You nag your man so much about so many things, it gets to the point where every time you talk, he just chimes you out. It could be about anything. It doesn't have to be about you nagging him anymore. It's just because you never let him be a man. You never just let him figure things out by himself and for himself. Now, going off of that, that does not necessarily mean, you know, you shouldn't say anything to him. Like, oh, when you wrong your man, shut your mouth and don't say nothing. I'm not saying that. If it gets to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to be in control because he's always putting us in danger. He's always putting us in messed up situations. Maybe you need to find yourself another man. I'm a big advocate of a man should upgrade your life, not downgrade your life where it should be the same. There's no reason why you should be the same individual that you are before you get into a relationship that you are after you're in a relationship. And I'm not saying to just be with a man for everything he could do for you, but if he can't do nothing for you, what is the point of you having a man? You might as well just get you a roommate. And going off of that, communicate how you feel. That's another one that I think is hard for especially women who are very independent, women who are very, I can do bad all by myself. I can do everything by myself. Yeah, so you should be by yourself. You should be alone. You need to have a certain level of vulnerability. I know it's hard for a lot of individuals because you're afraid of being hurt, i.e., going back to your childhood trauma that I said you have to come to terms with or, kind of get over in a sense. But just and I think a certain level of trauma, I think it's not saying to forget it, but I think coming to terms with the situation and just knowing there's nothing you could have done differently. You're here for yourself. If you need therapy, go to therapy. You want to do shadow work. You can do different things, but it doesn't affect you in a way that you feel like I should have did this differently. I should have did that differently, or affects you in a way where you judge people based upon that experience. I say that to say, express how you feel. If you want something, there should be no reason why you can't tell your man you want something. Like, I realize in a lot of relationships with a woman that I know, they're the man in the relationship and they don't even notice it. I know so many women who are basically scared to ask their man for stuff. Men don't be scared. Men ask you for certain things, y'all know. So it's just like, why are you scared to ask him for help? I know women who literally will have a pop tire and will call one of their friends that are girls to help them. I know women who are literally with men, have men living in their house, and they are asking other people for money to help them for groceries or different things. And this is no shade to nobody, but I want you to realize you are the man in the relationship, and that's why it's so hard for you to be in your feminine energy because you're afraid to ask for help. One, because you might not think the individual can do it, which is another problem. Why is he there? But then another one is also you're in a state of control. For me, myself, I realized I was living in my masculine energy because I was so afraid to ask somebody for help and then they not provide the help the way I wanted it. Because I had this idea that what I do is right and I know the way I want things done and I know this and I know that. So I'd rather do it myself. I'd rather just do I do everything by myself. And I realized that was me living in my masculine energy. No, let me get help. That's from friends, that's from guys, that's from anybody that is willing to help me. And also, I can ask for help. I don't just always have to wait for people to help me as well. You can ask people to help you. And at the same time, respect sometimes when people say no. Like, I think another thing is don't have this mindset like they have to say yes, they have to. Another one being in your masculine energy controlling. But then also pay attention to people who say yes or no, because a lot of times they'll teach you who really care about you. Sometimes you live in such masculine energy for so long that you take care of so much stuff that you don't realize how many people don't take care of you because you never ask for help. And then when you really start asking, you like, wait, I'm not counting favors, but I've done this for you. I've been there for you. I've been that for you. You can't even do this for me. And then you see it repeatedly happen. You like, wait, this person has been making me in my masculine energy. This person has been taking from me. You didn't even know because for so long you were Mr. Macho. I know everything. I got everything. And everybody else is like, yep, you do. Go to her when you need help. Go to her when you need something. And it made you live in your masculine energy. Now, there is a time period where you kind of do have to live in your masculine energy for a little bit, but it's to protect your feminine values. It's when you create boundaries. I think it's very imperative that you have boundaries. And I really wish it's something that we talk to young women more about because I feel like when I was younger, I did not have a lot of boundaries. And it put me in a lot of situations with men that weren't positive for the simple fact that I correlated femininity with being weak. And I felt like if I didn't speak up for myself, and I felt like if I didn't say anything or make an individual, especially a man, feel some way, that's me being feminine, right? Oh, I'm not saying this and I'm not saying that because I don't want to make him feel like this. Or it was just me being in situations where I was uncomfortable, but I was afraid to speak up because I didn't want to seem a certain way, because I thought femininity meant weakness. Now, going to what I said before, when I said, oh, let your man be a man, that's different. It's different from letting your man be a man or allowing your man to be a controller. If an individual is putting you in an uncomfortable situation, if an individual is putting you in a situation you don't feel right, it's dangerous, whatever the case may be, you need to create boundaries to stand up for yourself. There's a certain level of boundaries we need to start teaching each other, especially young women, to have when it comes to these men. Because if you do not have boundaries, if you think femininity means being weak, people are going to throw you around, toss you around, and do things to you because they feel like they can because you don't have boundaries for yourself. And I don't want to say it in an aggressive way, but I feel like that's something that I wish I would have learned more growing up. Like, I need to have first feminine values for myself. What do I value? Right? There's certain things that I value now when it comes to my body. There's certain things that I value now when it comes to, my opinions. There's certain things I value now when it just comes to me being a woman that I didn't before. And since I did not value those things, I allowed people, usually men, to stump on those things, to disrespect those things, to not care about those things. And at the end of the day, it didn't make me feel right. It didn't make me feel good. It didn't make me feel anything positive. But I thought femininity, me being feminine, me being a woman, I thought it was a certain level of weakness. And it's not. It's actually opposite. I didn't realize that femininity is so powerful that if somebody gets in between of what I have of my values, I need to check them. I need to tell them, we ain't doing this. I need to make it known that this is not happening. We standing on business about this. That's not happening. And so you need to have a certain level of values of yourself as a woman. What do you value? What are you protecting? What are you not allowing individuals to come in between? Because a boundary is kind of like a force field. It's kind of like this thing is in the inside, right? My values are on the inside of this. My boundary is here, so you can't penetrate this thing. And to help you also do a boundaries, that's why it's very imperative for women to have standards for the kind of men that you deal with. And understanding certain men will bring out masculine tendencies in you. And this is no shade to nobody. I say this to say, but me personally, I have had my own place for, I don't know, maybe like 4 years. Well, I have a roommate, my best friend, but having my place, paying rent for about 4 years now, give or take. I've had my own car for 4 years, give or take. I pay my own bills. I do all this other stuff. Not bragging anything about that, but I say that to say I'm at a point in my life and I'm at an age where the man that I personally deal with has to have a place that he stays at. He can have a roommate. I mean, I'm young still, but I don't necessarily want him living at home, and he has to have a vehicle. That's a standard that I have for myself. The reason why I have those standards is because I know if a man does not have those things, I'm probably going to have to be my masculine energy around him. If he does not have a car and I have a car, that means I'm going to have to pick him up for dates. That means I'm going to have to pick him up and drop him off to go places. The only time I'm going to see him is when he's being a passenger princess. If a man does not have a home, me personally, I'm just not comfortable going into people's homes when they live with their parents. Like a guy that I'm dealing with, that's just not something comfortable for me being in that lady house, no offense or anything. So it's like, you're going to always have to be over my place. You're going to always have to be eating my food and it's nothing wrong with that happening sometimes. It's not like I could never drive my man nowhere. My man could never come over. But me personally, to be in my more feminine energy, I want to know I can depend on you. And so don't get me wrong. It's not saying, oh, every friend I have has to have a car or all this, has to have all this stuff. No. But I just know from the standards I created for myself that the man that I'm with has to have at least those two things. Because if he doesn't, it's going to make me have to be in my masculine energy. And so that's imperative as well to when you start creating values with yourself, understand there's certain things I go through, having to pay rent, having to pay bills, all this other stuff that I know if a man doesn't have those things, he doesn't understand that. Like it's the beginning of the month, I got rent to pay, and you talking about going on a trip. Are you not being considerate? But he don't understand that because he don't pay rent. You get what I'm saying? So it's like when you are dealing with a man, it's very imperative to have standards. Because a lot of times when you don't have standards, those are the reason why people get in between your values. Those are the reason why a lot of men make you act masculine because you're dealing with a man who is a child to you. Maybe not on a age level, but on a mental level, on a capacity level. And a lot of women don't think about that. Like there's a lot of men who are children to you. And that's why you're always have to be masculine and in control. And but you think it's nurturing, right? Doing all this stuff for a man. Why are you helping that man? Why are you applying to a job for that man? Why is that man using your car while you're at work? Why is that? And he's not doing anything positive. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing anything that is like going to get y'all to the next level and doing things on a consistent basis that's going to get y'all or helping you. And it's making you your masculine energy. And the final thing, keep up with your appearance. I'm a big advocate of when you look good, you feel good. And a lot of women feel like they don't deserve to be in their feminine energy because they don't look a certain way. Keep up with your appearance. Keep your hair done, keep your nails done, all those things. I tell you all the time, nowadays it's the most affordable it's ever been. They have the realistic Presto nails on Amazon. They have, the lashes clusters. They have so many things that you can do that you don't have to spend $1 million for. And then also investing in things like I told y'all before that last longer. For example, me, I wear now U-part wigs all the time. I love them because I can, wash it, all the other stuff. I don't have to worry about being, laced on my hair like a frontal. It lasts long. I can reuse it. Boom. Like invest into things that are long lasting and not things that just look good for the time period. I.e., if you know you can't get your nails done consistently, why are you getting those long, long, long nails? Why don't you get yourself a shorter set that's easier for you to maintain? I say that to say keeping up with your appearance is so imperative, depending on what it is for you. Different strokes for different folks. But I think that's something else that a lot of videos probably say that, a lot of people probably say it, but it's true. Like keeping up your appearance makes you feel better. So i.e. a lot of times you do better and you just feel feminine. Like, cause I'm keeping up with myself. Like I'm sticking to what I said I was gonna stick to. I look good. It's kind of like when you get your hair done and your nails done and your lashes done and then all of a sudden you want to go to the store. It's like, what do you need for the mall? People to see me. Like you just want to be seen. You just want to, but think about if that was the norm for you. Like you always look like that. How you would feel in the, way you exude yourself. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys learned something from there. I hope you guys got something out of it to help you no longer be in your masculine energy. We are trying to be feminine. We're trying to tap into our feminine energy this year. So I hope these tips help. Don't forget to go in the description below and sign up for my newsletter. And of course, don't forget to check for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank y'all so much and have a great one.